Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. We are here once again to do a reactions video for the Worlds Collide PLE that took place on Friday, September 12th, 2025. This one took place right after SmackDown, essentially, and we just got done recording our SmackDown recap, so we're having a nice flow here. This took place in Las Vegas, Nevada, and this is the second Worlds Collide, third PLE, if you will, since WWE acquired AAA. So let's see how this one compares and see if we like this one as much as the last one. We kick off the show with an eight-man tag match with the likes of Nino Hamburguesa, Octagón Jr., Laredo Kid, and Mascarita Sagrada going up against Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, Lince Dorado, and Mini Abismo Negro. I apologize if I butchered some of those names, but obviously we don't see these guys week in and week out, so hopefully I didn't do that too badly. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty good tag match. You know, obviously eight men in the ring there. There was never going to be a dull moment, and tons of luchador wrestling, if you will. This was a prime way to kind of open the door for us. I thought this was a great opening matchup. KP, what'd you think of this opening contest here for Worlds Collide?
Yeah, this was a whole lot of fun. I think when you look at the card as a general, this was the match to kick things off with, just to get as many people involved as possible, to get some interesting dynamics throughout the matchup as well. So much high pace energy, pure chaos, in certain parts throughout the contest. Yeah, it had a great flow to it, really, really did. I thought that everybody really had their chance to shine here. Parka was great, just doing a little bit of a, showing his charismatic style, very much like a Penta style performer, I think. Just the way he just sort of like swags around the ring and just his general presence. He was great to watch and fun. Octagón Jr., just tremendously talented individual. Just continued to go and do what he does best. That we've, I'm not entirely like, like well versed when it comes to AAA, but I have watched all of the shows since WWE merged with them, and he's always been a great one to watch when he's involved in the action. Yeah, Mascarita Sagrada, again another one of those guys that sort of like did his thing for sure, and very interesting with him because obviously being the the little wrestlers here involved, I thought that these brought such a interesting dynamic, and it's just so much fun to watch. Like obviously we know about the regular wrestlers or whatever, but the smaller guys I thought just brought so much energy from the crowd too. Like they were getting absolutely hyped. They were going crazy over the blending between the two of them. Yeah, it was a really, really fun match from everybody involved. You talk about the other side where you've got Mini Abismo Negro as well as the LWO and Lince Dorado. For those watching WWE every week, we do see them, from time to time, and they're always a whole lot of fun as well. So yeah, you can say the same about all of them really in this match, can't you? But yeah, just a little sloppy in parts, but obviously when you're going around just so unbelievably quick and fast, you're probably going to have a little bit of a more room for making a couple of errors here and there. But that's the high risk, high reward way that the lucha style is. So it's just a great style of wrestling to watch. It's so incredibly fun. But yeah, really, really good matchup to get things started. I was properly invested already to begin with here, and yeah, a nice win for the AAA team of La Parka, Octagón Jr., Laredo Kid, and Mascarita Sagrada. After Mascarita would get the victory here in this one. So yeah, great matchup, and thoroughly enjoyed it. What did you make of our opening contest, Nick? Sorry, I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, not much that I can really say that you hadn't already. For me, I thought that Sagrada and La Parka were the MVPs of the match, both being kind of my first exposure to them. Some of the things Sagrada was doing is pretty crazy, and La Parka, yeah, just oozed charisma, and I have to say, I think the point of these was always for me, anyways, was to kind of get exposure to this new brand and see if anyone kind of, grabbed my attention. And La Parka is definitely one now that I kind of want to go see. What else have you done? Are you always just entertaining? Because he was probably in there, arguably probably one of the least, involved, but for that little part that he was in there for, is super entertaining. To kind of do what he was doing was very unique. But yeah, every single guy here kind of showed up, showed out. I think that's probably the objective here, as you kind of hit on with these eight-man tag matches, to get everyone involved. And yeah, like I said, kind of at the beginning, this is luchador wrestling, on prime display. If you didn't find this entertaining, then luchador wrestling probably not for you, because this one really went all out. I gave this one 8 out of 10. I thought this was a super fun way to start off Worlds Collide and kind of set up the rest of the night. Getting into the next match, we have Faby Apache going up against Natalya or Natty. This was a very technical and intense match. Obviously, these guys have had a history with each other. Even this last week on NXT, Natalya was at ringside, kind of costing Faby her speed match and potential ability to challenge Sol Ruca. So clearly, some animosity here, and you could definitely feel it in the ring. It's lovely to see Natalya kind of be more, something different, I guess. I had heard a lot of rumblings about her outside of WWE and kind of how she was killing it. And it's just great to see her kind of do something different and kind of show off her personality a bit more, if you will. KP, what do you think of this second match of Worlds Collide?
Well, first and foremost, I think we talk about Natalya normally in WWE as somebody who we don't really see too much of now. I think that's just the way it is for her in the company and her standings for it. But when it's outside of it, she is, like you said, just a completely different person, and ultimately she's just a lot more, intriguing to watch. She's, she's just a different personality. Just the way she just sort of handles the business. Obviously, she's always been technically sound and gifted in the ring, but this is a different side of her, one that sort of allows her to basically be a bit more sort of like aggressive and assertive when she's in the ring. And, she's normally the happy-go-lucky, always smiling type wrestler, in WWE. But this one is a bit more, what I'm gonna smile, but I'm also gonna kick your ass, like, at the same time. Like, I feel like that's just a really badass way of showcasing Natty. And she's in her element here. And, someone like Faby Apache being in there as well, that goes back to their title match, just about a month or so ago. And both women being unsuccessful in that attempt of blaming each other for what went down. It's had a nice build to it as well. And like you said, we saw it on NXT. That sort of like fed things in to this matchup just to basically remind people, this is coming up, and they are they are very much invested in one another and they don't like each other. But yeah, they show that in the match as well. Like you said, very technical display. It felt like a fight at times, which obviously was just great with how the feud was going. And I think when you've got such a feud such as this, you need to have that sort of like high intensity and more like vicious sort of style from both women. And I think they really did show that quite well. I think Natalya getting the victory in the end, just via that, like it's like a roll up, and then Natalya reverses it, goes on to a roll up herself. It was good. It was very back and forth. Like I said, just so technically sound, both of them, and yeah, it was a really fun matchup. It's my kind of wrestling match. Like I like these. These are what I live for, basically, and I love the just sort of the dynamic of how they sort of like they mesh with each other, and they mesh very very well. I gave it a 7 out of 10 as well as the first one. So staying quite consistent here in the early stages of Worlds Collide. What did you make of it, Nick?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. This is definitely in my wheelhouse in terms of matches that I'm going to like. I think Natty could very well take this gimmick back to WWE, and at the very least, kind of go for those mid card titles that she's never had the opportunity to do so. We mentioned she takes this. To SmackDown, for instance, where we were just talking about how they lack heels. She could take this gimmick over there and fill in a slot quite nicely. But as for the match itself, nothing really negative to say about it. Like I said, you could really feel the animosity between these two. And with the roll up pen, I don't typically love those, but I think it's okay in this instance, in that it's going to probably help us continue this rivalry, and I'm all for that. My only complaint was I think it was a bit short. I think they probably could have used about 5 more minutes to really up the stakes here. But regardless, what we got, and kind of nitpicking here, but for what we got, I thought it was perfectly acceptable. I just think a few more minutes probably would have helped to elevate it into that kind of next tier, if you will. But I also give this one a 7 out of 10. So obviously not a bad match. I just wanted to see a little bit more. That's all. Kicking off the next match, we have Pagano and Psycho Clown defending their AAA Tag Team Championships. up against Big G and Kofi Kingston. Um, before the match, we see kind of an interview where Xavier is basically doing okay, but he's recovering from an operation. And it's because he's been hit with too many Mexican destroyers, or at least that's what he tells us. Big G then grabs the mic and said, "Yeah, Xavier's doing great in recovery, and it definitely has nothing to do with his fear of clowns." So laying the groundwork there. But yeah, for Xavier, just getting done with that surgery, you certainly couldn't tell. He's recovering quite swiftly. But yeah, I think Big G does a great job of filling in for Xavier here. And lest we forget, Big G has not been a part of this tag team, the New Day for very long. But you certainly couldn't tell it here. I thought this was a great contest. KP, what'd you think of this? Our first title match of the night.
Yeah, this was fun, and that's literally like the main note I've got written down here. In terms of like the way matches go down, obviously a tag team matchup. You expect so much. You expect high energy. You expect a lot of things going on, and you expect a lot of back and forth. I think that had this match had a lot of those aspects within them. Xavier Woods, yeah, he cracks me up, man. I think the gimmick that New Day have at the moment is it's certainly a comical type one. Obviously, they're sort of like playing it off as being quite serious, but it's coming off obviously comically to all of us as fans. And yeah, I think they're doing a really good job of just being these like chicken like heel type characters. And Xavier with the fear of clowns, yeah, when obviously that came up at the start of the before the match took place, knew it was gonna sort of like go along into the matchup itself, and I'm glad it really did. Got to a point where at the very end of the match, you got Psycho Clown. He literally rips like half of his mask off. It's like a layered mask almost. Rips off one layer. Scares Xavier Woods off. He hightails off backstage. I think he probably saw smoke as he ran off. He ran that quickly. Um, and yeah, it was a quick win afterwards for Pagano and Psycho Clown. But yeah, really fun matchup. Like you said, Grayson Waller, he's done a good job of fitting in. I think he really has. Like he's showing the commitment to the New Day. He seems to be vibing well with them as well. Obviously, a little bit awkward at first, but now that we're in a matchup with them, he's competing for the tag team titles in AAA. I think, yeah, it showed that he is sort of like in amongst the group, and he's doing a nice job of like meshing in quite well. But yeah, great matchup between both teams. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10 in the end. I think Pagano and Psycho, they obviously them winning was the correct call here, and yeah, just a nice little fun gimmicky match type thing, especially the ending there with Xavier being scared off. But then, at the end of all of that, they were going to be interviewed in the ring, and their interview didn't really happen or last very long, whatever you want to call it. Before then, we would hear the ominous music of the Wyatt Six, and that was very surprising because they weren't on SmackDown. But here they are on AAA, and they're going to get in the mix here with Pagano and Psycho Clown. They come down to the ring, and they absolutely lay waste to both men. They lay waste to the AAA Tag Team Champs. They put them both through a table, as in, like, Pagano gets put through a table, as does Psycho Clown. So there's not like one man that gets the worst situation here. And yeah, there's Sister Abigail involved as well. Yeah, they do get absolutely laid out here, and they get left for dead. So at the end, they hold the WWE Tag Team titles as well as the AAA Tag Team titles, all high up. And yeah, just posed to end the segment. But yeah, kind of crazy them coming out at the end and just laying waste, but it definitely made for an interesting moment for sure. And what did you think of the Wyatts coming out at the end, Nick? Could you really explain, maybe why they did this? Do you reckon they'll go for the AAA Tag Team titles as well? Because they haven't lost a match since coming to WWE as a tag team, or coming back to WWE as a tag team. So yeah, it'd be quite interesting to see if that they do pursue those tag titles. But yeah, the match was a lot of fun as well. What did you make of all of this?
Yeah, I think this is definitely one of the better, if not the best match of the night. Just, in terms of tag work, very, very clean. Like I mentioned, Big G, seamless, fitting in quite seamlessly. Hadn't missed a beat. And of course, Psycho Clown and Pagano doing quality work as I've always seen them do since the acquisition. Yeah, I thought the face mask bit, ripping off half the face, that was really cool. That was a really cool segment. And of course, this Xavier just he has say what you want about his ring career outside of the tag division, but that man has a future in outside of wrestling in terms of commentating or manager roles if he wants one. He definitely is very skilled in that aspect. But yeah, I thought Wide Six being there, I thought that was a great surprise. Um, seeing them take out the likes of Psycho and Pagano was yeah, as you so nicely put it, wipe them out. Very much so. They were laid to waste, I think, is the exact phrasing you used. But seeing them there in the bottom corner on the right there, that looks like laid to waste to me. And the picture of the Wyatt Six holding all four titles there, of course, the tag team titles that they already have, then they also the AAA tag titles. Is that the fate of those titles? Perhaps. I like you said, they haven't lost, and so if there are, which they're clearly involved now, so clearly they are looking to go after them. And I don't see them losing to a AAA tag team unless someone also from WWE, perhaps, maybe one of the good guys comes and kind of aids them. Because as we've seen on the WWE side, Wyatt Six numbers game has very, very much played into their favor so far. So, yeah, Wyatt Six clearly, not quite done and looking to make themselves even bigger and better. But yeah, as for the match itself, yeah, this is really quality. I give this one a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, like I said, just super clean tag team match here. Speaking of tag teams, we are not quite done as the next match has Roxanne Perez and Finn Bálor of the Judgment Day going up against Lola Vice and the Mr. Iguana. KP, not only do we get Mr. Iguana and Layeska, but we also get the return of Demonito. What'd you think of this mixed match, tag match?
Yeah, we saw a bit of fun in the last match, and I think the fun just sort of like doubled down for this next contest as well. Yeah, this was a certainly interesting matchup. I had such a good time watching it. It was a lot of fun. We had Finn Balor, just showing what he can do, obviously, as always. Roxanne Perez looking great as ever. Lola Vice has really come into her own recently. I don't know if maybe it's just being, in and out of AAA stuff and, being in NXT as well, doing her thing. She just seems to be killing it right now, and I think she's on a really good run. This just sort of like, just allowing her to keep going along that run. We had the NXT Women's Champion, JC Jane, at ringside watching this one. So she was obviously heavily invested in her number one contender for her championship, being Lola Vice. So, yeah, there was a whole lot in this one for sure. Then obviously you got Mr. Iguana. Mr. Iguana is... he's a unique character, really, to be fair. Him and Layeska, they always manage to put a smile on my face every time in the ring. But also someone else that did was Demonito as well. Coming back in, I remember when he first got showcased, previously this year. That was obviously quite the shock then. But yeah, this is obviously a very great moment. We all thought he was in the bag, wasn't he? We all thought he was in there, and then ultimately, just sort of appears, just at ringside as well. That I thought it was a whole lot of fun, this one. But yeah, as for the match, just the general pace and how it went down. Yeah, it was good. It was pretty much a standard mixed tag team contest, for the most part, obviously besides the gimmicky stuff here and there. But yeah, Lola Vice in the end picking up the victory here. You got you got Finn Balor. He's up on the top rope. He actually puts Demonito around his neck. He looks like he's going to go for a coup de grace. Lola drops Finn Balor onto the turnbuckle, and then that allows Mr. Iguana a little bit of time to capitalize. Layeska, he managed to hit a tope on Finn Balor on the outside, completely lays waste to him. He's out of it. Great selling from Finn Balor, I gotta say. And then Lola Vice, she just seemingly very easily handles Raquel Rodriguez, drops her down onto the apron at ringside, and then deals with Roxanne Perez right afterwards, and is able to get the victory there and then. So yeah, it was a good contest. I thought I had quite a lot of fun watching this one. It wasn't like one of your all-time classics or anything, but it was just a nice sort of like middle of the show, a little bit of fun. Just keep you interested type thing, invested, and like maybe a different style of tag team match. But yeah, I had a good time. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. I think there were better matches on the card for this show, but it wasn't a bad match by any means necessary, and it was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, with the likes of Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez, we obviously know they can go in the ring. So to see them just so effortlessly pull off more of a gimmicky type match, but still obviously hold their own in the ring, I think that's just kind of a testament to how quality the two of them are. Um, but yeah, I love to see Demonato back as well. But that I would be lying if I said that doesn't make me kind of yearn more for the demon himself from the prince. Maybe one day soon. We'll see. As for the actual match, yeah, like I said, a very clean match. You know, to have those kind of puppets involved as well, and just so kind of effortlessly from all four of them, you know, not miss a beat. I think that says a lot about all the talent involved here. Um, but yeah, with Roxanne and Lola in the ring, and then Raquel trying to assist. As you kind of mentioned, Lola kind of took care of all of them and pretty swiftly, and then gets that lethal back fist to get the win. Lola's rise to the top continues at quite a furious pace, it seems like. JC Jane, as you mentioned at ringside, none too pleased to see her win yet again. But yeah, this match was very fun. I would say maybe I would have liked a little more of Layeska and Dimonito perhaps. But I know I'm nitpicking there. But yeah, this was a ton of fun. A nice kind of break in the very serious action that we've seen kind of before the last match, or the last two matches, and then the ones after. So a nice little break in the action there. I too gave this one a 6.5 out of 10, which I swear we don't share these ratings beforehand, but that is three in a row. We'll see if we can break it here soon. Getting off to the next match, we see Dragon Lee going up against Ethan Page, JD McDonagh, and El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. Defending his AAA Latin American World Championship. KP, what'd you think of this second title match of the night? As good as the first, or maybe a little better?
I would say a bit better. Yeah, for me personally, this was my match of the night. This one just gelled extremely well together. I think there were so many elements involved here. Every single person, was able to really just do their thing, to show up, show out, and just have a great matchup for that Latin America Championship. It was just brilliant. I think when you got the likes of Ethan Page in there, he's obviously always going to bring something to the show. His character is always fantastic on NXT, and he does that here in this match as well. Like he looks to capitalize on opportunities, looks to be in the right place at the right time, and yeah, just brings a solidarity to the contest that I think only he can really give. Dragon Lee, extremely high paced. He has been absolutely killing it recently, and I think this was just a perfect match for him. We see little bits of him on WWE. I thought you've seen more recently than we have probably in the few months leading up to this little partnership between WWE and AAA. But now that this is all happening, I think we're just seeing what he can really do. And I don't think there's ever been the case of he can't do that, but it's just whether he's been able to be given the opportunity to do so. I think that's been the gray area for me personally. But I think recently he's been absolutely killing it. He's been showcased so much more often, and he's definitely paying back as to why he is so highly thought of by Rey Mysterio. And yeah, I think just his general energy in this one was just so much fun to watch. And then obviously that brings on to El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., the champion, bringing his title into the contest and defending it successfully here. In the end, I can speak about this ties really well together here, actually. I can speak about him and JD McDonagh together very well here, because JD is the guy that makes everybody look better, right? I think, we all know that about him. And I think just his ways of making everybody else in the matchup here work just so well together. He just brings everybody up and he makes them look like stars. And that's just another case here. In the late stages, you got Ethan Page who's going for a cover on Dragon Lee, and you got El Hijo Dr. Wagner Jr., who does hit a lovely swanton from the top, landing on Ethan Page, but then just taking out JD McDonagh straight afterwards and getting the victory in that way. I think it's just a perfect finish, to be fair. You got everybody involved in little bits here and there, and right up until that finish. So no one really was away from this. Ethan Page was just outside the ring. He literally saw the cover take place as he couldn't get back in time. Yeah, I liked it. I thought just him just knowing that it's happening and he can't do anything about it just added a nice little bit to it as well. But yeah, really fun matchup. Couldn't take my eyes off of it. Just so much to cover in this one. You can speak about it for a good like 10-15 minutes, to be fair. But yeah, it was just a crazy, chaotic, high pace, high energy, just can't take your eyes off of it. Fatal four way, and yeah, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. retaining his championship. Yeah, probably the right decision. Saw him win it earlier this year at AAA event, so yeah, nice to see him get his defense here successfully. But yeah, great fatal four way, 8.5 from me. Like I said, my match of the night. What did you make of it, Nick? Could you add anything else to it?
Well, you summed it up quite nicely, but yeah, three of the four guys here already have titles around their waist coming into the match, so we knew we were going to be in for a good match, right? It was just a matter of how would they gel together. Obviously, these are four guys that don't really work that often, at least lately. So, but with that, I would say you couldn't tell. You if you had told me they were all in the same brand, I would have happily believed you, because as you kind of alluded to, everything did it gelled so well together. Really didn't miss any beats here. For just kind of three guys from the WWE side, just all massively like underrated talent and clearly all heading for bigger and better things. That, of course, referring to Ethan and Dragon Lee and JD. And then from the bits I've seen from Wagner, he's looked good as well. So I think we're just kind of seeing that all kind of gelled together here. And as soon as the bell started, the action stopped, and it really didn't stop, or really didn't stop until till the end, until that final bell. And so, yeah, this was just pure chaos from bell to bell. And I thought, kind of there toward the end, everyone kind of passing out their finishers, with Wagner getting the final bit there with the Wagner driver to McDonagh, which allows him to retain and still be your AAA Latin American champion. Yeah, I too thought this was match of the night, but I did give it an 8 out of 10 as opposed to an 8.5. So at least we've come across a bit different there. But yeah, I thought this was a great match, and like I said, I did like this one better than the main event. But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a side towards the main event. I think it's just this match had everything. So with that, let's go ahead and move on to the main event, which has Dominik Mysterio going up versus El Vikingo for that AAA Mega Championship. Obviously, these guys have been feuding for a while. We've seen a lot of back and forth here. Earlier in the night, we see a couple of backstage segments where Finn tells Dom to prove your worth. You should win tonight by yourself. So was that a hint of what's to come, or was that an actual continuing the kind of feuding words we've kind of seen between Finn and Dom? Was that a real thing? We find out here. We also see a backstage segment where Rey Mysterio is being interviewed. Dom comes up and says, talking to his deadbeat dad in a way no child should talk to their dad, but says, when I win that world title, you're going to place it around my waist. So lots of kind of things to keep an eye out for during this match. KP, how did you like how it all played out? Did you rate this one as highly as the previous two title matches? I know you obviously said the last match was your match of the night, but what prevented this one from being match of the night for you?
So nothing particularly like bad, I think. In this one, I think when you put both matches into the open, I just think that the previous one had so much more to it. Obviously, with four guys being extremely high pace all the time, that's a lot to sort of like live up to. This one had a very different dynamic to it. Obviously, you've got Dirty Dominik Mysterio, so desperate to try and be the top guy in AAA. He says that he is the best Mysterio, he is the best luchador in the world, this, that, and the other. And one way to back that up is to win a title that his dad never won. Rey Mysterio didn't win in his career. And secondly, win the AAA Mega Championship. So both things are also very good things to have under your belt if you're looking to be the top luchador, to be the top Mysterio, whatever. Obviously, he's got a long time to go until he can probably be declared officially better than Rey Mysterio. But let's talk about how this match went down. Yeah, I thought this was really good. Like, it had a lot to it in terms of start to finish. It was a bit of a journey to get through, and that's not a bad thing. That's good, because it had steps along the way, and it had moments where maybe this could happen, what. Like you said, Finn Balor earlier in the night said, go out and win this by yourself. Show them what you can really do. What happens about halfway through the contest? Judgment Day come down. Finn Balor, JD McDonagh. Yeah, they come down to be an aid for Dom, and we get a little bit of Dragon Lee that comes on down to help out El Hijo del Vikingo, to basically try and like silence the Judgment Day's interference. Then we get Rey Mysterio come down because 1-on-2 isn't going to really help out too much. Rey comes down and he evens the odds basically alongside Dragon Lee, and then that leaves Dominik Mysterio and El Hijo del Vikingo to go at it, just the two of them again, until El Grande Americano comes down, which we've obviously seen, him helping Dom recently, going back to Raw where he'd helped Dom retain the Intercontinental Championship against AJ Styles. So yeah, we didn't really think that could be the last of that little relationship between the two of them, and it wasn't, because he come down to help. And El Grande was there for a little bit of a while. El Hijo del Vikingo, he hits his big finish, the 630, and that does prompt him to come on down to make the save by pulling the referee out of the matchup. But he sticks around afterwards. He stays there. It gets to a point where he's on the outside of the ring, and he's sort of like reaching into his jacket pocket. He's wearing a nice little suit, and Hijo del Vikingo, he's there sort of like see what's going on. He basically tries lifting the mask off of El Grande, who is also at ringside still at this point, with El Hijo del Vikingo still in the ring. And you can see him like really struggling. He's still going into his pocket trying to find whatever he's looking for. The referees come over to see the situation, see if he can like try and get a measure of what's going down. And then really slyly and just very well done, to be fair, El Grande manages to slide a metal plate like just behind him and like into the ring without either the referee or Vikingo noticing. Obviously Dom sees it, pops a little metal plate in his mask, and moments later hits a headbutt to the upper chest, or to the chest area of Vikingo, and then hits his frog splash. And then 3 seconds later we get a brand new AAA Mega Champion crowned in Dirty Dom Mysterio. But it was just a really sort of like sectioned match. Like, you got like bits to go through, like checkpoints almost throughout the entire contest, and I think they met them very well. It didn't seem like it was, let's do this and then let's wait until this part, but it seems to be very much like, right, check this off, check this off, check this off, check this off, and then we can get to obviously where we need to be. And that isn't a bad thing. I think that was good. It sort of like showed the stage of the contest where things changed in dynamic, where the intensity differed, just the general feel for it and whatnot. I think it was a really, really nice paced contest between both men, and they just did a good job of getting that main event picture done. As for Del Vikingo, the crowd not too happy that he would win the last couple of matches, but in terms of this one, I think the crowd were pretty happy that Dominik Mysterio won this one. So yeah, it was a feel-good moment at the end there. I think it was a good moment for Dom, obviously, of course, and then we get Judgment Day at the end after Rey Mysterio is forced to put the title around the waist of Dirty Dom, as of a conversation held previously in the night between those two. But yeah, the celebrations at the end, nice moment, and it was a really good main event in my opinion. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Not quite the match of the night, obviously, as I've said before on my side, but what did you make of it, Nick? Where did it stand in your overalls, and what did you make of it as a main event?
Yeah, I just thought the ending, which, shouldn't have come to a surprise to anyone, but obviously when the Judgment Day comes down, despite their comments earlier, obviously it was always going to be one way or another, but to have them come down and then Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio come in to nullify it, and then of course Dom having that, that last ace in his pocket, El Grande Americano, kind of help him get the win, because Vikingo did have the match won, if it wasn't for that last pullout by El Grande. So I thought the match itself was fine. I just think we've seen better from both of them. So I thought that was one part. And then the Judgment Day and kind of the heavy involvement from outside, which it's standard, of course, but for whatever reason, just felt like, we've seen this before. And so I feel like it didn't really bring anything super new or exciting to the table for me personally. And like I said, both Vikingo and Dom have had better matches, even with each other, at least in my eyes. But hard not to, feel for Dom there, finally getting that mega championship that has eluded him for a while. So, and getting the win here, he was obviously the one that was more over. The crowd, obviously, as you kind of alluded to, was very heavily for Dom. So we'll see how long this lasts, of course. But yeah, the Judgment Day continuing, their quest for gold, and I think Roxanne and Raquel have some work to do. They're seemingly the only ones who can't hold the gold over there. So we'll see if they get some soon. But yeah, just nothing crazy for me. And like you kind of alluded to, we had seen better matches throughout the night, specifically the one before that, and the Latin American Championship as well. So yeah, I give this one a 7 out of 10. Not a bad match, just something it felt like we'd seen one too many times, and for whatever reason, just didn't hit with me as it maybe it should have. So with that, this is the Worlds Collide PLE reactions video. KP, if you have any final thoughts for us here, what you thought on the show as a whole, and of course your rating as a whole, and we'll get this one wrapped up.
If there's anything that I've learned from watching the AAA events, since the WWE merge, I think that if anything, it's consistency. And these matches are a whole lot of fun from the start until the end of the end of the night. There isn't really a match that you ever think is absolutely god awful. Well, especially not on this show anyway. But yeah, this one particularly, I think this is a really solid, consistent show from start to finish. From A to Z. Everything just seemed to work well. You had a little bit of fun in between. You had some really technical matches, loads of high-paced energy throughout the night. It had pretty much everything you need, and had some storytelling involved as well, with a really good good moment at the end, especially for Dirty Dominik Mysterio. So yeah, naturally speaking, there's just a whole lot to really sort of sink your teeth into and enjoy here. My average overall from this night is a 7.5 out of 10. And I think that's fair representation of what went down throughout the course of the evening. Just lots of things to really just to really gloss over and talk about, as we've done so already. But yeah, just a really fun, solid, fast-paced show, and I think 7.5 is pretty fair. What about you, Nick? What did you make of it all as a show, and obviously your rating as well?
Well, first of all, beautifully said. Taking away a lot of my notes itself, and to no surprise, my overall was a 7.25 as well. Makes sense because most of our ratings were very similar. But yeah, you hit it perfectly. I think consistency is key, and main roster WWE struggles with that sometimes. So not a bad match in the not a bad match in the bunch, and a very good variety of kind of as you alluded to as well. You had a little bit for everything or everyone essentially. So I think that's a great quality show, and has me looking forward to the next one. I think so far all the shows they've put on since the acquisition have been really fun. So no reason to not look forward to the next one. But yeah, with that, this has been our Worlds Collide reactions video. And we will be back shortly with, of course, our Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, as well as our WrestleMania project coming out this week. And we'll also have predictions for WrestlePalooza, which is upcoming this next weekend. So we hope you all enjoyed Worlds Collide as well. And if you agree or disagree with anything we put out there, please let us know in the comments below. And of course, we always appreciate those likes and subscribes. And until next time, we'll see you then. Take care.